This morning, debris that washed up on Reunion Island has been confirmed as wreckage from the doomed flight MH370. It comes after the most expensive aviation search in the history of aviation searches, which was led by officials across the Tasman. Australian correspondent Jason Morrison joins me now. Jason, morning to you. This news obviously will be big news in Australia.
It's huge news. It's huge news internationally. I guess the odd irony of all of this is it's in some ways allowed the authorities to confirm that even with the vast distances, they have been searching roughly in the right area.
Ballpark in the right area.
And it's as odd as that sounds, because you look at the map and it's half a world away. They're in the right ocean for a start. They're in the right flow of currents, because the currents kind of flow over the north of Australia towards Reunion Island and then curve down towards the Antarctic region. So they sort of say, well, look, we're in the right spot, and the fact that this debris has been found so far away would suggest obviously that it probably floated. It hasn't gone down and then come back up again. So they've just got to find the rest of the plane. And this has, in some respects, from what I'm hearing in some of the interpretations coming from France even this morning, has allowed them to sort of come to this conclusion that, well, look, they don't know how the plane has gone, but they do know that it's broken into bits, because obviously this bit here is not easy to shake off. So maybe they will find something intact somewhere. They've just got to keep on searching. By the way, 46,000 square kilometres they've searched of the ocean floor.
And that's interesting what they can learn, as you say, another angle to it, what they can learn from the fact that this bit has come off will tell them a lot about how the plane hit the water. And the other thing as well, and I've been talking about this a little bit this morning, Jason, even although it's the beginning of another chapter for the families of those that were on board, it does bring some closure. At least they know definitively this plane did crash.
There was a family on television the other morning that, is a sister of one of the victims, and this was the family that lost the two parents. And they were saying much what you're saying, is that, at least they now know that all these ridiculous conspiracy theories about it being landed and taken into a cave and all these kind of weird things they've heard are just rubbish. I mean, the plane and its pieces, and of course the victims, if there are remains, are somewhere still out in the ocean.
So some form of closure, and more to come, obviously. All right. We loathe paying for politicians at the best of times. The worst of times is when we're paying politicians to take their own families on holiday.
This is extraordinary. Who thought that this was part of the salary package? An Australian politician, the most, backbench of backbenchers, earns about $200,000 a year, then a pretty good superannuation off the back of that, and they get all their travel paid for. It's
never enough.
Really
it's never enough for these guys.
It's probably worth about $400 a year, to be frank, when you add it all up. Well, did you know this, that chucked into the package is annual business flights for the family, for family reunion, because they're working so hard in all different corners of the country. They are allowed to fly their family, regardless of how big, and there are some fairly big Catholic families amongst politicians in Australia. One bloke has been flying 8 members of the family each year to Northern Australia for a study trip, and a holiday up on the Barrier Reef. And it's been going on for years. In fact, someone did the maths just the other day, $1.5 million so far this year, just this year, spent on family travel for politicians.
Well, family reunification is an important thing. We mustn't stand in the way of it, even if we're funding it. Now, I love
even
this.
If we don't like them.
Even if we don't like them, which we don't. I love this thing. Coles have shown a sense of humour, and they have done it in the most dangerous place, online.
I know. Incredible. This sort of started with a bloke who, a pretty simple thing. He bought a capsicum from a Coles supermarket, one of our biggest chains. Gets home, cuts it up for the chicken stir fry. Whoops, what's this? There's a worm in my capsicum. In fact, it was a caterpillar. So he took a photograph of it and stuck it on Facebook. And of course, did you know the next morning there are 9,000 people all over the world that are saying what they want to say about it? So Coles comes back with a response. And I've got to read just a little of this because it's brilliant. Matthew is his name, the bloke complaining. It was a bit narky, the complaint. Dear Matthew, wow, you found them. Thank goodness, we've been looking for them everywhere, the caterpillars. We're sorry to hear the caterpillar family almost made it into your dinner, but we're glad they're safe and at home. We now hope you enjoy being the foster parents to an army of caterpillars, which brings much warmth this winter, and we're sorry they couldn't make it to the chicken stir-fry. And on it went. And, of course, the great irony of this is, in social media land, as you know, it's a loaded gun.
Yep.
Cole's got more likes than the guy who complained.
And there is something to learn from that for everyone. Good on Coles. Hey, Jason, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.